All right. Welcome back to WMAC Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a special live stream. Brought two of the best experts in Japanese MMA. We've got CJ, Charlie Jewett from Sogo-Kaku.com, a beardless Charlie. He's got a new look for himself. And Andrew from WeAreRizinPod podcast, the live stream to go to for everything to do with Rizin. Tonight, we have a special task ahead of us. We're going to build from scratch a potential Rizin Strawweight division. So it seems they've been focusing on strawweights lately, or at least trying to. They've had a couple strawweight matches, mostly built around the fighter known as Machi Fukuda. But you can't have a division with just one fighter. So each of us, I have tasked each of us with picking out 5 fighters. We're going to take turns going through each of our lists here. And what we'll do is each fighter will name, or each panelist will name their fighter. I'll name off some stats for them. And then the panelists will give their reasons why they chose them. And then the others will be able to react. What's up, Bob Broccoli? So first up is going to be one of Charlie's picks, and this is the most obvious one. So that's why it's first. Or no, wait, I'm sorry. Before that, I wanted to go over a couple fights from this past weekend's Rizin, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
So, we had a super atomweight bout. Moeri Suda defeated Noel in the second round via an absolutely nasty-looking armbar. Andrew, your thoughts?
So I don't know. Have either of you ever watched Lucha Underground? Did any of you watch Lucha Underground when it was on TV?
Absolutely, I loved it.
Okay. Do you remember when Pentagon Jr. used to? Wait, are you being sarcastic, CJ, or no?
No, didn't he fight like the Black Lotus Triad? Didn't he fight the Black Lotus Triad?
Yeah. Dude, if you remember Pentagon Jr., he used to do the thing. He used to do the thing where he would break the arm. He would grab. That's exactly how Suda almost did the arm thing, which is really cool. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Yeah. Listen, Suda and armbar are go together like candy and ice cream. Listen, she's so damn good, and if it was up to me, it would have been Suda versus Izawa on this card and Noel versus Shin on this card. But yeah, Rizin had different ideas apparently. But yeah, good on Suda getting another armbar win. She's a queen the armbars. That's not her nickname already.
Charlie, your thoughts?
Am I cutting in? Am I cutting in and out? Sorry, am I cutting in and out?
A little bit.
No, so my thoughts were. I mean, I thought Moeri Suda was favored to win this one. She had more experience. I mean, they're actually not that different in age, but Moeri has much more experience. She's faced higher competition, and she's coming off of the upset of the year, the biggest win of her career. She choked Ayaka Hamasaki unconscious. That alone should have propelled her to contender status in any promotion she wanted to choose in Japan. Noel is a popular. I think she was actually in the Rising Confession videos from back in the day when Ayaka Hamasaki was champion. So she's had a kind of a rising footprint for a while. So this was a good debut for her. And I think a loss to Moeri means nothing to her career. She's still quite young. She's still moving upwards. It's just that she comes from a grappling background. Having her go against someone with way more grappling experience is never going to be a good show for her at this point. And Moeri looked amazing. And I wouldn't be surprised if her next fight's a big one.
Yeah, so I did a review on this one. And I mentioned in Andrew's chat last night when he was doing his recap, this was Suda's 8th win by armbar. She gets one more. She ties how many Ronda Rousey had in her career. So
Well, she's kind of the queen of spamming submissions. She'll just try to, if she fails, she tries again. She'll try again. She'll try again until she finally gets it.
Yeah, she didn't have to spam this one, though. She got it pretty easy.
Actually, I've been very impressed with her development because she's still so young despite the amount of experience. And she seems to have a pretty high fight IQ. She's come up with some pretty interesting and good strategies for some of her fights. And one that sticks out, I believe, was her rematch with Aya Murakami, where she just completely shut down Aya's BJJ game in that fight, which is impressive considering Moetti also is a grappler.
Yeah, that was a good one. She actually, so Suda, from what I've been told, can't give up my source, but Suda has a fight in September. You were wondering who it was, Andrew. I listed it in the private chat. And I'm told the winner of that gets to fight Izawa probably on New Year's. But I can't say who it is just yet. But Noelle probably back to Shudo fighting. I don't know. They'll probably find someone around her level.
If she gets a lot of attention, I wouldn't be surprised if Rising brings her back, kind of like a Kate Lotus situation, gives her some beatable Korean fighter, no offense, and builds her up a little bit.
There's a few coming up that are beatable. And Japanese fans love that rivalry. So now we got to talk about the biggest mismatch I've seen in a long time. Sekizawa beat Shinyu Jin. It was supposed to be a title match for the super atomweight title. And then Shin called ahead of time, was like, I'm not going to make super atomweight. So they changed it to a catchweight. And then she still ended up being a little heavy over, but it didn't matter because Izawa beat her in the first round. Looks like Andrew had to step out, fix some technical difficulties. I gave my thoughts in a video already for this one. Charlie, what'd you think?
I mean, I respect any fighter that gets in the cage or the ring and fights, but I think these two are not comparable. Sheen has been incredibly inactive throughout her career with long periods. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she's had long periods of inactivity. And with Izawa talking all this game about wanting to fight world-class, top-level competition, this is not the response we're hoping for. This kind of fight proves nothing, in my opinion. So I think it's kind of a waste of time.
No, I agree, because it was like after her last bout, she's like, next time I'm going to face some international competition. It's like, well, her last bout was against some like Colombian or Argentine girl that had an upside-down record. And then when Reina wouldn't or got injured and had to pull out the last time, she's like, I'm just done with you, which I don't think she really wants that Reina fight.
Well, if she's smart, she'd want it because that'd be the biggest fight she could possibly do.
I mean, it's honestly, it's probably the second most popular fighter she'd have on her record if she's trying to get like the rub off of beating these fighters. I mean, she beat Kana Asakura, but didn't get any real rub off of doing that. Beat Miyu Yamamoto, didn't get any rub off of that. Of course, both of them were retiring, which usually that's supposed to help, get the younger or the newer fighter over, but it didn't seem to work. So, but I mean, is there a chance that beating Reina will do that for Izawa? Or they're just going to say, yeah, we still like Reina. So
you can ask Andrew. He's interviewed Izawa. I mean, technical skills aside, I think her biggest detriment is she's kind of a charisma vacuum. And I don't think fans have ever really latched on to her because, I mean, Hamasaki wasn't a big talker, but Hamasaki had this aura, had a very good aura around her, world champion, Invicta champion, just dominance. Yeah. Whereas Izawa just hasn't been able to pull that together, it seems.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, well, she used to do like the fake sobbing thing, like the like the overly loud, like crying, and it's like, well, that's kind of obviously fake. And then now she's trying to do like, she has her YouTube channel, and it's, I don't know how good that does. I mean, I'm subscribed, but I don't really watch because it's all in Japanese. So, Andrew, your thoughts on the fight?
Yes, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, no more. Yeah, this fight sucked. It's embarrassing. I mean, basically everything you said, I echoed. I'm tired of also talking about this fight because this fight was absolutely horrible. Also, I blame Rizin because like this girl didn't make weight the first time for her atom weight debut. Why would you? What was the impetus for saying, "Hey, here's an atom weight title shot," even though you didn't win? That's the other thing as well. I was so confused, like why they went with her, because at first I was like, "Oh, maybe that fight was for the atom weight title and World FC," but not you. What's her name? Is the atom weight champion? I forgot her name already.
Junun Park.
Was it Park? It's Park, right?
It's Junun Park.
Yeah. You had something already there. You could already have her. Why would you go after a fighter who didn't make weight for their first fight? Now you're having now she calls you and is like, "Oh, hey guys, I can't make weight. Can we do it at catch weight?" Yeah, sure, why not? She misses weight again. Yeah, this was and I think you said it best in your video that Izawa has the last 3 or 4 fights that she's had, probably more, has avoided top level competition. And yeah, you already named the fights already, but also like now she's kind of doing this gimmick. She's kind of like doing this almost, she's trying to become like a, I don't want to say Charlie Man. She's not trash talking, but she's kind of like trying to come off as like tough and like disrespectful, but like it's a weird, like it's not disrespectful in the sense of like what we think of as disrespectful, almost kind of. She's kind of like, I don't know, lightly trash talking, maybe.
Yeah,
is that how you?
More weird, like subtle jabs, like
yes, subtle jabs. And then she's saying, "Oh, I want to."
When Conor was retiring in the middle of the ring, she like stepped up and was like, "Why are you retiring?" It was like one of those things where this isn't your time to talk. You need to try not to bully the retiring person in the middle of the retirement ceremony. This is weird.
And then she's saying, "Oh, I only want to face foreign competition now." After she doesn't want to fight Reina. So she's been an absolute failure as both for Deep Jewels, by the way. Don't forget, she's the double. Isn't she still double champ for? No, she's not.
No, she finally gave up the strawweight belt.
Yeah, but she's still atomweight champion, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yep. So there's that, and the lack of defenses for the and Rizin as well, and also just overall lack of competition she faced. Who's probably the toughest competition she honestly faced was probably the last time was probably Claire Lopez. That was probably like the closest person where it's like, oh, maybe this could be a competitive fight. And then everybody after that was like retirees or minimum weight, microweight fighters. The Korean of the week, Korean jobber of the week fighters. It's been, like I have a disinterest. She's becoming an anti-draw for me, where I'm like, I am no longer interested in seeing the matches that she is advertised for.
I'll disagree to the point that I think the last time she fought tough competition was Siwoo Park. And I think you could argue that Siwoo Park won at least one of those fights where they fought each other. And Siwoo Park showed that Izawa struggles against physical athletes and strikers. And that's not, ever since then, she hasn't fought another one of those.
And that's kind of what Reina is.
Well, Reina's not physical, but yeah.
Yeah, but she's a striker, and she knows enough about submissions for the most part to not get caught in them, unless she's fighting Kana Asakura. Yeah. Okay, so here's a theory I had. And this is like going off in the weeds, like JFK level type of conspiracy, but Rizin planned all of this in order to help build Izawa's popularity, to get the audience like on her side, because how did they had to know that Shin missed weight in her last fight. She not only was too far ahead, too heavy for atom weight, but then she blew strawweight at that time, and that was back in December. So they had to know that. So, but then they book her anyway for a super atom weight title bout, and so she calls ahead, lets them know, hey, I'm not going to make it, and then she misses the weight again. So then Izawa comes up and is like, how dare she? And I'm going to, Road FC actually, why would Road FC even think to send this type of fighter over? I'm going to blow them all out of the water and stuff. So I don't know what the response to that was, because, I mean, my best thing is to use Google Translate, but I think they might have planned that to kind of get Izawa over with the crowd, because the Japanese hate people that miss weight. It was a Korean fighter. So there's a lot of possible links there.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't agree with that just because I don't think Rizin likes Izawa. I think that they had a very popular, well-running super atomweight division, and since Izawa has become champion, interest in it has almost died completely. And my number one piece of evidence for why they dislike it will be how much they talk about how much they like Machi and how they never say anything about Izawa.
Okay.
I mean, Andrew might have a comment, but that's my general feeling.
I guess, is it not out of the realm of possibility what Chuck is saying? I guess, but I just think that also, I don't think that Rizin gives a shit about atom weight anymore. That's the other thing. They just don't really give a shit. I think they are moving past it.
They do 3 or 4 fights a year, and just most of them are Izawa title fight. I mean, Izawa fights, not title fights.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably it. It's just that the atom weight division has run its course of Rizin. Kana's gone, Miyu's gone. Who else is gone? Siwoo Park's now at strawweight. Machi, who could make atom weight if she wanted to, is a strawweight. Yeah, it's Ayaka is probably going to retire soon anyway. Reina is in Thailand. Yeah, I don't think they gave a shit. I don't think they really give a shit. Like I even forgot this fight was on the card until I had to do the preview show. And I was like, oh wait, yeah, this fight's on the card. I forgot about it. Yeah, so
yeah, Reina's in Thailand and training, so she's healthy. She could have been on the show.
Yeah, it's just I just don't think. I think it was one point. I also wonder like. Charlie, I know that the atom weight got really good ratings on Fuji TV, I believe, right?
During the Rena generation.
Yeah, so I wonder also if they just looked at numbers and maybe their YouTube numbers and I don't know whatever data that they also use to calculate shit is like since they're no longer Fuji TV, if that audience kind of is like no longer there or went down significantly, and now it's more of a focus on other stuff, like other types of fighters than atom weights.
I mean, I think that the second super atomweight Grand Prix that Izawa won ended up being a big zero.
Yes.
On people caring about it. Not as bad as this year's heavyweight tournament, but not far off. And people didn't care about it. I mean, Siwoo Park, great fighter, also not a lot of charisma. Izawa, great fighter, not a lot of charisma. Nobody cared about that finals. It was a rematch. It actually ended up being a kind of exciting fight, but it wasn't enough to generate interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, this division was created in Rizin. The reason super atomweight exists is because that's the weight Rena could fight at.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then they had the rivalry between her and Kana Asakura. And Kana was dating Tenshin at the time. So that got her over with the crowd, a lot of it. Plus, when Kana beat Reina, and Reina kind of got mad and turned into the villain Reina.
NRO, Rena.
Yeah, that was the best.
Another thing I also like to point out as well is that Izawa. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. Has Izawa said that she wants to go to UFC eventually? Has she said that? I'm pretty sure she said that, right?
I don't think she's ever come out and directly said it like that. I think she's kind of hinted that she's open to the possibility.
Okay.
But she's also made comments how she thinks she's too small for 52 kilos to fight foreigners.
Okay, that's true. But okay. I remember when I interviewed her, she said she wants to retire by 28 or 29 or something, right?
You're the one that interviewed.
I don't remember that. I didn't know it so long ago. But she said she wants to retire before the age of 30. That's what she said.
They all say that.
Yeah, why would you want to focus on division when your champion's saying that this is her timeline of retirement? And most do. You know, Kana retired.
If that's true, though, I mean, Rena's been retiring for like 15 years.
Kana was retiring for at least 3.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Going.
Reina's been retiring for, like 10, 15 years.
But I think the simplest explanation is that the Grand Prix that Izawa won was not popular. It got no attention. It effectively killed the division because all of the stars except for Reina retired. And instead of investing the time and resources to rebuild the division, Rizin chose to focus on flyweight. They chose to focus on featherweight and all of those other Grand Prix they were doing. Because why wouldn't they? Their stars at that time are the Asakura brothers. They are people in those divisions where Izawa wasn't making the numbers. They just didn't focus on that division.
Well, the last one to make numbers was Oshima. And then she just started like not fighting regularly. And I think that hype train is long gone now. I think whatever goodwill, whatever popularity she had after that Kana fight is all gone now due to inactivity. They had something with her. I really think they had something with the mother who's a judo champion, but also could be a MMA champion. I think that all went out the window by her inactivity and also the losses that she got.
Well, in response to your comment, I would say that one must remember with Oshima, I think she was almost always a late replacement in all of her Rizin fights. And that I don't think Rizin was she's never been like the first pick for a lot of these fights. Like when she fights in Hokkaido, she's fighting Salt because Salt's from Hokkaido. When she fights there, she's stepped in for an injured Ayaka Hamasaki and things like that.
Right. But fought in Okinawa against Miyu, who was living there at the time or whatever.
Right. And you have to acknowledge that behind the scenes, as far as the Japanese fighters go, Rizin is essentially just an extension. It is like the major league version of Deep Jewels. And most of the girls that Deep Jewels is going to want to push on the Rizin scene are fighters that they manage themselves. Fighters like Seika Izawa. So when you get to fighters that are not managed by Deep Jewels, maybe they aren't getting the push that some of the other fighters are, like Kate Lotus, Seika Izawa, Machi. All these people have something in common.
Mm-hmm. I know. One of the things I keep on bringing up, is that Rizin is not this meritocratic promotion that I think a lot of people, J Wolf, think that it is. It's really not. It's still a political game. Certain fighters are going to get booked, and others are not, even though they should be booked.
Minor promotions in Japan have way more power than they do outside when you compare it to like the U.S. market. Mm-hmm. So Rizin has to always walk that balance of not offending Deep, not offending Pancrase, not offending shootboxing, not offending Shuto because they want access to those fighters.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. All right, so let's move on finally. Let's quit talking about, like you said, the charisma vacuum Izawa anymore. Let's move on to the strawweights. So first up is one of Charlie's picks, and the reason we're even doing this discussion is Machi Fukuda. She's 8-2. Her last win was a unanimous decision win over Salt in June at Rizin Sapporo or Rizin Landmark. She's 22 years old. She stands 5 feet even, 153 centimeters, really short for strawweight. So Charlie, tell us about her.
you cannot talk about strawweight and rising without talking about Machi. She is by Sasehara, she is professed as one of his favorite fighters. For those who do not know, Sasehara is one of the matchmakers at Rizin. He is a big fan of Machi. So the fact that he likes her so much means she has potential to have something built around her because he's possibly the number 2 or 3 person in the entire promotion with that kind of power. Second, she's very charismatic. She's young. She has lots of fans. Deep has her do these events where she'll like go up like an idol and do a karaoke contest. She's meshing well. She kind of has that X factor. She's a grappler. She has good stamina. She doesn't get a lot. I think she has some submission finishes, but she has potential sometimes to have some kind of boring fights, I would say. But I think the number one critique I'd have for her is Andrew already alluded to. I think she could be an atomweight, and she will have to deal with the size of some of these fighters. But she's a very good grappler, and if she's able to get people to the ground, she should be able to take care of that, I think.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, Machi was the obvious choice. I think she could make atomweight. She has said she wants to go to UFC eventually, Machi. So that's why I think she's presuming. I presume that she's staying at strawweight because, as we know, there's no atomweight in the UFC. So that's why I'm presuming she's sticking around at strawweight. And listen, Machi is maybe the best thing for women's JMMA going forward right now. She is one of a kind. She is one of a kind. Interesting backstory, exciting fighter, and she's got charisma. That's the other thing, So a lot of the names that a lot of the Deep Jewels fighters, they're charismatic, but they're absolutely horrid MMA fighters. I'm sorry, CJ and Chuck, but listen, sometimes watching some of those deep, when I have to watch Chibi Sai throw hands, I am getting secondhand cringe at how bad, or Momika, as well.
As long as you don't talk about Akipi, whatever her name is.
Oh no! I wish I put her on the list, but I was like, oh no. But I could see Rizin going that way, but no, I did not put her on Akipi on the list. But Machi has she's one of a kind. I hope I don't know if Rizin better be smart for her. They got something with her, so yeah. Obviously a great pick. I can't disagree with that, Charlie.
I'll also add to what Andrew said for the charisma fact. When you talk about Japanese fighters, you're going to run into a lot of quiet people that don't talk that much. Machi's outspoken. She promotes herself.
Mm-hmm.
She can be interesting. These are all things you need for the face of a division. Now, this might be one of those situations where she can't beat the best of the best, but in Japan, that's fine. She can still be the face of a promotion and not be the champion. That's fine. So, yeah.
Sakuraba.
Exactly.
Okay. So I will say, I don't get it. I mean, I'm not like a Japan guy, really. So I don't understand her popularity. I mean, she's definitely outgoing. So unlike most fighters who just say, come by this, so whatever that is, they say, please watch my match. She's actually outgoing. She does have a personality. I don't quite understand it. And I will say her popularity definitely outpaces her skills and ability. And I think that's going to catch up to her like badly at some point. But she is the most popular women's fighter in Japan right now, possibly.
I'll put a big caveat. She's the best. If you're balancing popularity with skill, she's the most popular. There are, right. As Andrew alluded to, there are many very popular fighters who have no skill whatsoever.
Right. And my biggest critique of her is she lacks finishing ability. Like she basically had an arm triangle locked up on Salt and just refused to like move out of half guard to cinch it up and finish it. And it's like, I don't know if she just refused or she didn't realize, like, hey, you need to pass the guard for an arm triangle choke to be effective.
I think, if you don't mind me also saying, Chuck, we still don't, personality aside, we still don't know like what level of a fighter is she, because let's be honest, the competition she's faced has not been like Salt. With all due respect to Salt, but she's not that good, and
Well, she's one-dimensional.
Very one-dimensional, and she has to, her biggest win was a very close fight, was against Ayaka Nakamura. Ayaka Nakamura.
Watanabe.
Oh, Watanabe. Sorry, I'm thinking this singer Ayaka Nakamura. Watanabe, yes. And that was a very close fight. You could have made an argument that Ayaka won that. So right now, I have to agree that like I don't know what skill. Once she faces somebody like maybe a Siwoo Park. No, she lost to Siwoo Park, I believe, right? Yeah. Right? Didn't she?
She did, and I think it was one of those interim. Didn't she lose to Siwoo Park and Arisa Matsuda like back to back?
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing is that like, is she going to develop? Is she going to evolve as an MMA fighter? And right now, she's just facing kind of jobbers of the week. So we have to wait to see how she stacks up against somebody who's a high level strawweight eventually.
Yeah,
I'll agree with Andrew in that. I think her biggest win today is the Ayaka Watanabe win, which was a split decision in Rizin that could have gone either way. And if you watch her Arisa Matsuda fight, this might be a youth or inexperience thing, but she has this thing that she'll do sometimes where she gets a fighter to the ground and then does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Arisa Matsuda fight, if she had thrown punches, knees, done anything from the ground, she would have won that fight. She would have won that decision. But she needs to learn to throw strikes and to evolve her ground game in that regard.
Yeah. Well, under the current Rizin rule, she'd have won that fight. But I think Deep Jules was counting damage more. Mm-hmm. Okay, before we move to the next fighter, we got a couple people in the chat. Caveman Travels asks, why doesn't Satoko Shinashi fight in Rizin? Well, she's about 92 pounds naturally. I mean, she looks small woman. At microweight.
She's also
like pushing 50.
Yeah. I think she got KO'd by Nisei.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, so I don't think, no disrespect.
Yeah. Playlist Hired Gun, I believe he's one of your regulars, Andrew, asks, out of the major power players, UFC, PFL, Bellator 1, etc., I'm guessing, who does the panel feel Rizin has the best shot at cross-promoting with? I'm going to say none right now. UFC doesn't cross-promote. Bellator used to promote with Rizin. They're gone. PFL is in their own world, and so is One. And One's moving away from MMA.
Well, UFC and One would never cross-promote with Rizin anyway. So of those three, PFL is the only option left. Outside of that, I think the most realistic cross promotions are like Black Combat or Road, Road, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, technically, because they're a fighting federation, they get promoters to send fighters to them all the time, which is, in a way, cross promotion. And they used to show all the different fight promotions banners at the events too, back when they started.
I'd like to see a cool like Rizin KSW cross promotion or something. But
Combate Global, maybe that they're barely a fight promotion. They're a TV show for what's it called? Univision, basically.
Well, I watched one of their events with Megumi Sugimoto on it. They had some pretty good fights, actually, I thought.
The fights
are a 4-fight event, though. It's pretty small.
Yeah, the fights are fun. There's just they're only having like 5 fights an event now. They're all in their little TV studio. You have to apply for tickets, which means you have to either be in Miami or be headed to Miami. And the fact that they want you to apply for them means they're probably they're probably keeping track on who disses them on social media. Because I've thought about applying for press credentials before, but it's like you never know who's going to fight until fight week anyway. Although apparently they're going to Mexico this year. So they're finally leaving the studio. And Bob Broccoli asks, LFA announced their first international card coming up. So, well, they've been to U.S. and they've been to Brazil. They're heading to Tenerife, Spain, which is in the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa.
They have that Noah connection. They already have the Rizin connection.
Yeah. So next up is one of Andrew's picks, and I'll be honest, this is one of the people I immediately thought of when I came up with this idea. Meng Bo. She's 22-8, so I think she might be the most experienced fighter on this list. She is coming in off of a decision loss to Seong Jin Nan back in one championship in March 14th. She's 29 years old, and every time I see she's under 30, it surprises me because she's been around forever. She's 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters tall, with a reach of 63 inches, 160 centimeters. Andrew, tell us why you picked Meng Bo.
Yep. Well, as soon as she was released, I was like, boy, listen, Rizin, you better go for her. You have she has an interesting resume. First person to beat Chihiro Sawada. So you would have that. You could build off that. I know she's maybe not the most, I won't say entertaining, but she's not the most explosive really fighter. But given her pedigree, her good record, also win over Weili Zhang, by the way. You could always say, hey, almost Rizin fighter, Weili Zhang was beaten by her. I know, CJ, you remember that. You remember Weili Zhang in her Rizin stint.
Whatever happened to her?
Nothing happened to her. No, she's a high-level fighter. It's something that Japan doesn't really. They would rather kind of do the whole Japan versus Korea thing rather than Japan versus China thing. But I think the Japan versus China thing is a lot more interesting, especially when you have a great fighter like Meng Bo. So yeah, I mean, skill wise, and her pedigree as a fighter is just, I think, is enough to bring her in for Rizin. Have her fate. Her versus Machi would be like a really good test for Machi. To see, like, okay, is Machi the real deal, or is she just a flash in the pan? Yeah, I think Rizin would absolutely benefit from booking a fight with her.
I have to agree with everything Andrew said. When you mentioned this thing, the fighter I thought of first was Bo.
Sorry, sorry, I stole her from you.
And
stole it from all of us.
I will disagree with Andrew to one regard, in that I would put her in a title shot with Izawa immediately. Izawa said she wants to fight tough foreigners. Well, here's the toughest foreigner we could find. And I mean, this is kind of like when Sudario said he wanted to fight tough foreigners and everyone was hoping they'd signed Overeem. I mean, you asked for it, you got it. We'll get you the best 115 pounder out there. And you can't, she's fought on huge stages. She's beaten big names. She's been around for a long time. She's charismatic. She promotes herself. She has everything you want. Plus, rising China in the future. I mean, think of the options.
Meng Bo, the Chinese superhero of Japanese WMMA. Yeah, she was one of the first. Honestly, when she got announced as a free agent, she's honestly the inspiration for this list.
Well, I assumed that when she announced her free agency that she's already signed to the UFC, to be honest. But if that's not the case, I would love to see her in Rizin.
Yeah. My only disagreement with including her is she's way too experienced. They'd have to keep her away from Machi for as long as possible.
She's only 29, though. I'd say give her a straight title shot.
Would Izawa agree to it, though? She said she wants to face tough competition, overseas competition, but yeah. Would Deep and Izawa come up with some excuse like why we can't fight her?
I meant tough. I didn't mean that tough. Come on now.
Yeah, I didn't mean 22-8. Tough. I meant 3-0 tough.
Andrew, you got to do it JMMA style. You have Izawa in the ring, and all of a sudden she turns around and Bo's there. She has no idea what's going on, and you announce the fight.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I love the pro wrestling connection.
Yeah.
So next we have my fight, and I'm keeping up the international trend. We're going to the USA. Sydney Trillo, or I think it might be pronounced Trio. If you've watched, for those who tend to watch LFA, might be familiar with her. Where I have her. She is 5-2. She is coming off a submission loss in her last bout back in June. But she's 25 years old. She's 5 feet 3 inches tall, 160 centimeters, has a reach of 66 inches, 168 centimeters. I included her. She has the looks, but most importantly, she brings the violence. Anyone that has Fight Pass, go look up her fight. It was in LFA. Her fight versus Landria Brown, who now her name's Landria Rosales. She got married, but that was like a fight of the year candidate, and it was a 115-pound bout in LFA. I mean, it was that much back and forth action that Sydney won the fight, and she fought once in Invicta since then, and I think she's gone back to LFA for her last 2 fights. But her nickname's Sid Vicious. She'd be on like the all violence team in a Rizin Strawweight division. So that's why I picked her. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her or not.
I'm not as familiar, but I mean, if she's as violent as you say, sounds like a great addition.
Yeah.
Is she good though? Because I see she lost to Ben Stiller's cousin, Mackenzie. That's her cousin, right? Aren't they related?
I don't know. Mackenzie or Mac Judo, as she goes by on Instagram, I think she's headed to the UFC pretty soon. I would not be surprised if in the next year she's headed to the UFC because she is legit. I almost put her on the list because she's a judoka, but I was like, she might be too good for this division.
I'm not, again, not too familiar with her, but listen, I'll take your word for it. Everything you said that she brings the violence, that's good. She's got a good record. So, yeah, we need people like that. We need more of that and less of salt, in my opinion.
Yeah. Quit picking on my girl. All right. So next up we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. What are we on number? Hold on, I'm going back and forth between documents on my iPad. We're back to Charlie. Karen, the mononymical Karen.
I mean,
Karen is. She has a record of 10-2. She's coming off of a decision win over Edna Oliveira back in September of last year, so she hasn't fought at all this year. She's only 21 years old. She stands 5 feet 2 inches tall, 150 centimeters, and she was the Pancrase Strawweight champion for a little bit. Charlie, tell us about Karen.
I mean, can you have a division in Japan without a member of Team Date? Team Date must live on. Karen's sister is Nori, who is now a popular professional wrestler who trains with Kondori. And Kondori had the entire angle with King Reina, for those that remember back in those Rising days. Imagine,
and Garcia.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine the weird pro wrestling style promotions we could do with Karen, Kondori, and her sister. She used to market her fights by telling me in interviews that I should watch the fight. It's going to be a blood festival. I mean, she says some pretty interesting stuff. You're used to Japanese fighters not saying anything. She comes from a pro wrestling background. She's going to say some wild stuff. She's going to promote the fights. Interesting style. She has, I'm going to describe it as like a Taekwondo-esque clinching style. She likes to use her elbows.
Oh, no, it's that ancient Indian martial art.
Oh, yes, yes. I see you're familiar. No, but I mean, she's got razor sharp elbows. I think she's ended 3 or 4 fights with cuts to people's faces. She beat Emi Fujino. She's young. You're going to notice the continuing theme with the fighters I've picked is fighters you can build a division around. I think the oldest fighter on my list is 31. Most of my fighters are in their early 20s. Karen trains at black belt with Rei Tsuraya, Kana Asakura, Honoka Shigeta. She trains at a solid gym. She's only getting better. She's got mic skills. She's interesting. She's charismatic. She's a striker. In a country filled with grapplers, she's a striker. You need a striker. And I think she'd make a wonderful addition to the division.
Andrew.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me is that she hasn't fought since last year. So I don't know, Charlie. Is she injured? Is she taking a break? Do you know?
Just Pancrase doesn't put on that many women's fights.
Even so, you'd think that they would book her for something just against like someone, just like find some weird jobber from Thailand or something just to bring him over.
I think
Team Rocket blast off at the speed of light.
I think the issue is I think that the strawweight division is kind of stuck. Wait, is Salt still a champion?
Yeah, and Pancrase, yeah.
Is she? I thought she might have lost. Okay, so Salt, if I remember correctly, Salt is the champion. The issue is that Salt is not a Pancrase fighter. She's a Shuto fighter who keeps fighting all these Rising Hokkaido shows. So the actual champion of the division has not fought in a while. Pancrase just signed Miki Matono, who's clearly like gunning for that title shot. So it's kind of this bottleneck of people waiting to get at Salt when Salt finally fights again in Pancrase.
Okay. Is she the only one from Pravjara Date, whatever, that's still in MMA, actively MMA? Because Nori, you said, is a wrestler. Durrani
Durrani's like an OnlyFans model now. I don't think he's fought in a while. He had that
Okay.
One, gross. Two, not surprising.
Andrew remembers when Durrani had that sweet super kick knockout at Pancrase.
That's like the one highlight of his entire career. Then he got mauled in every other fight after that.
That's all he needed.
No, listen, I'm Karen's perfect pick. You know, I'm surprised that Rizin hasn't even booked her already, just because of her. You know, she's young, she's charismatic. I'm just, you know, that's the other one weird thing about Rizin. Remember, Charlie, we had to talk about this a long time ago. Like, why didn't they book Hikaru Watanabe, whatever it is now? And Rizin kind of has this thing where like you have to be like really young and beautiful or like a veteran. You can't be like an in-between type of fighter.
I think a lot of it might be out of my personal opinion. I think a lot of it's out of Rising's hands. I think that their women's division is kind of manipulated by one of the promotions that they get most of their fighters from. And maybe that's why the other promotions, girls, don't get a lot of action there.
Possible, yeah.
Karen is one of the fighters that I've been wondering for years, or for at least a few years now, why Rizin hasn't brought in. And honestly, I don't know why they didn't bring in anyone from Team Date back when Team Date was still like doing fights. I mean, yes, most of them are just complete jobbers, but when they lose, like they lose good, and they're going to like come out and at least try to like look fancy with their kicks and stuff. Like Karen Date, not a good fighter, but does throw fancy strikes, and she was cute, and they all have that gimmick of like, well, first was the Team Date, and then they had the offshoot of Team Pravajra, which they basically carried over the same thing. Like they're all, if they want to push like idol type fighters, Karen is basically trained as an idol who punches and elbows people for a living. Honestly, I think what Charlie says has a good point. Like, she fights in one of the JMMA smaller promotions, or like AAA promotions, and one of the other AAA promotions controls a lot of the matchmaking and the ladies that get there. I think that's why they haven't picked her up yet.
I don't know.
It has to be something political, because there's no reason for them to not have had her yet.
I will make an unrelated comment. I will not take this Team Date slander. Tiger Date and Goku Date are legends. Racer Date, also legend. And I believe Nori Date defeated an active UFC fighter now. And Nori Date was quite good as well. I will not take any of the slander.
It's not slander. I love Team Date. It's just Nori Date. Yeah, who didn't? Wait, who? I'm looking up Nori's record now because I got to see, like, trying to remember who you're talking about.
Tabitha Ritchie.
She has a win. Yeah, it's Seiza.
And she submitted Tabitha
Ritchie. Really good at Seiza. And she submitted her too.
Nori's a good fighter. Nori's tough.
Yeah.
Before I left Japan, I went to one of Nori's pro wrestling shows. It was awesome. She's killing it.
Sorry, do you think though that Karen is going to maybe go into pro wrestling? Maybe you think that's why also,
No, I think last time I spoke to her, she was kind of more interested in going to the UFC or one championship.
I wouldn't go to one, but I mean,
yeah,
if it's them or the UFC.
The problem is that if you're a Japanese fighter, Andrew knows this. Why did ask this. Andrew, why do you think Miki Matono joined Pancrase?
Oh, well, at that time, it was the easiest pathway to UFC when she, sorry. She joined Pancrase. Yeah, it's perceived as the easiest pathway to UFC.
Why do you think Honoka switched from Pancrase to Deep Jewels?
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
It's the easiest pathway to Rizin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Right. Sorry.
Even if it's not real, there's these perceived promotions that are the roads to get to these places.
Mm-hmm.
I see you, MMA holes. So, moving on, we have one of Andrew's picks. And how dare you pick a Korean, Andrew?
Oh, I'm sorry. She was in Japan. She was in Japan. I don't consider her Korean anymore. Korean by birth only.
Shiyu Park. Shiyu Park is the current Deep Jewels strawweight champion. Just got elevated. She's 12-5 as a pro. Her last bout was in May of last year. She picked up a split decision win over Machi. Been out injured since then. She's 34 years old, so one of the older fighters on this list. She's 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters tall, with a reach of 62.7 inches, 159 centimeters. Andrew, tell us about Shiyu Park.
Well, beat Machi is she's the strawweight champion of Deep Jewels. She has enough experience in Rizin. She had the close fight with Izawa, and beat everybody, all those vets in the tournament, and has Deep Jewels experience. Yeah, she's Korean, but I think she still lives in Japan as far as I know. Right, Charlie? She's still employed by Deep Jewels, maybe?
It's hard to tell. I think she goes back and forth now, but
yeah.
Especially during
COVID, a lot of her rehab in
very
Korea.
Japan focused.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, I immediately also thought of her because, former atomweight, and she's competitive. She's a competitive. I thought she would be a little bit undersized for strawweight, for strawweight, but no, she's managed to do pretty darn good at strawweight. You could do a rematch with Machi for Rizin if you wanted to, or they'll probably do in Deep Jewels eventually down the line. Yeah, I think she'd be. I think she's. Is she the most exciting fighter? Debatable, but I think she's skilled enough where the entertainment factor, you could kind of put that aside. We're looking at strawweight and Japanese strawweight in general, be like, okay, she's one of the better ones, and we could definitely benefit from her.
Charlie?
I mean, she checks the boxes. You need a striker. Most Japanese women are going to come from judo or wrestling backgrounds, so you're going to have to lean on a lot of these foreigners to come from striking backgrounds. I think she used to be more exciting, but she realized that going for flashy finishes, she could get caught and submitted. So Miyu Yamamoto and her training at Crazy Bee has really just made her very cautious of grapplers. I think overly cautious, but it shows a high fight IQ and that she just will not engage in those situations anymore, which she's kind of turned into a point fighter because of that. But she's very physical, even still at strawweight, even moving back up compared to Japanese fighters. She's a striker. She has name recognition. She's been in the market for a long time. I think, she beat up Seika. She might not have won the fights. She beat up Seika Izawa twice, arguably knocked her out in the second fight. Fought Panchan Rina. She's fought a bunch of popular fighters. And I think she's had very strong goals of going to the UFC, which might be why she went up to 52 kilo. But I think she might be too old for them to seriously consider at this point.
I think too old and being a former atomweight.
Yeah, because I've heard that the UFC is no longer interested in bloated atomweights.
She could be an road to UFC late replacement, possibly. You never know.
Yeah.
I think so Shiyu Park actually has the rematch booked against Machi for the Deep Jewel strawweight title in September.
Oh, okay.
Now, so that will be I forgot about that. That'll be Machi's third attempt to win the Deep Jewel strawweight title.
Yeah. Well, she's attempted to win the interim twice, but this is going to be the full title now. So, and honestly, this is her best chance against Park because Park's coming back from over a year of inactivity and having surgery that required that much time to rehab. I definitely agree that Park has turned into a really good anti-wrestler from training a lot with Crazy Bee and Miyu Yamamoto. I think, doesn't Machi train with Crazy Bee a bit now?
Machi hops all over the place. She trains with everybody. She's what they call free.
I think the whole plan is to get Machi the win over Park so they can claim, she's the Deep Jewel strawweight champ, and they'll put her in against, whoever for the inaugural Rizin Strawweight title. Park was kind of important for Deep Jewels for a little bit because she was the only foreign fighter who stayed in Japan during the pandemic. So she was a very active foreign fighter for them because she was in the Atomweight Grand Prix, which fell short to Oshima. But then she was in the Rizin Super Atomweight Grand Prix, the second one, beat Reina, beat Hamasaki, broke Hamasaki's arm with a kick, fell short in the Izawa rematch in the final, which, I think if they were judging damage at the time, she'd have won. I hate the way Rizin changed their scoring. But you can't. I think if she's going to be a strawweight, you got to have her. She's a bit on the older side at 34 compared to everybody else we have on the list, except for one other 34-year-old. But she's one of the best women fighters in Asia right now. So how do you not have her? And she fights primarily out of Japan now. She hasn't fought in Korea in years.
So one of the things when I was doing my list, I was also thinking realistically, realistically, I see Rizin going for her. I picked one, I guess you could say one reach, who we'll talk about later. But I tried to be as realistic as possible and try to think of who would Rizin would legitimately try to get. And I think Park would definitely be one of them, especially with her already veteran status with them, tournament wise and other fights.
Right, because she's a known commodity to Rizin fans, or should be anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so next up is one of my picks. Who we got? So-Yul Kim, another Korean. Some of you guys probably aren't as familiar with her. Any regular viewers of my channel should be, because I've covered her several times in the past. She is 9-1 as a pro. Most of those fights coming in one championship. Now, her last fight was in South Vietnam, picked up a submission win over Qing Jin Yan back in March. That was a bit of a, we call it like a tune-up fight for her. She's 28 years old. She stands 5 feet 3 inches, 159 centimeters, has a reach of 62.6 inches, 159 centimeters. So Soyo Kim is another one. She's like a free agent. Like, she was supposed to go to the UFC. They had a fight booked for her, but apparently One Championship's bargaining period, even though she was technically only signed for one fight at a time, they still hold fighters to like a bargaining period of 6 months. So she got screwed out of the UFC fight and then basically took like almost all of 2024 off, or all of 2024 off, just to make sure that she was clear of that, is my guess for why she was inactive. But yeah, she's 9-1. Her only loss was way back in 2018. She has a kickboxing background, but she actually has a lot of wins by sub. So out of her 9 wins, she has only one of them is by KO or TKO, but she has 6 submission wins. And her only loss was by decision. But yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She has 5 straight wins by finish, all of them by submission. So, and like against increasingly good competition. She was part of that One Warrior series that Rich Franklin ran for a while when they were scouting for fighters for One Championship. And I just think, I mean, it's a short trip from Korea to Japan. She was just in Japan cornering Bohyun Park at
Shuto Colors.
Yeah, Shuto Colors. And yeah, Shuto Colors. And honestly, I think she's actually a better fighter than Bohyun Park. So that's why I picked her.
I mean, she's already got some wins over some Japanese fighters. I think she fought in Shuto a couple times. Didn't she beat Satomi Takano in that One Warriors series?
Yeah, she did. Picked up a unanimous decision.
I mean, so she's already beaten a rising veteran. And
yeah,
I think
Takano had like over 20 fights at the time, and Kim only had 4.
Takano's like a former Shuto, current Pancrase champion. So she's already beaten one of the better girls on the Japanese market. So there's that angle they can build off of. And yeah, so I mean, she's got a great record. I think she'd be a great addition to the division. Is she still signed to One Championship?
I don't think so. Like, I'm pretty sure
she waited out her contract.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing, was like she was stuck in like a waiting period, like a bargaining period.
So she last fought for AFC. I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, and which is weird because it's like a Korean promotion, but they operate almost exclusively out of Vietnam now.
Interesting. So I mean, that means if she's fighting for AFC, no offense, in Vietnam, she's probably getting paid pennies. That probably means she's gettable. Be a great signing for Rizin.
Yeah, unless she's still hoping to get picked up back up by the UFC, but probably not after that fiasco.
And if you want to fight for the UFC, you have to get a win at Happy Elephant.
Andrew, I don't know if you're familiar with her or not. You're on mute.
Sorry, I briefly looked up her record, and I just remember. Oh yeah, she did fight in one before. But you know, so the other thing also. So I don't know if Charlie will agree with this. The problem also with like, well, I'm trying to think. So like, I'm trying to think how they would slot her in Rizin, and like the reason why I picked Mengbo was because I could see them realistically maybe just doing that like one fight with Izawa or whatever. Do you think they could do the same thing with her if they just want to do like a strawweight title thing right off the bat?
Possibly, but you're kind of getting on to something, Andrew, in that one of the issues we're going to come across with Rizin trying to build a division is what Andrew mentioned earlier. This isn't merit-based. So she needs Korean. This is going to sound terrible. Koreans are brought to Rizin generally to lose.
Yeah, they don't. You can't be too good. That's the other thing. You can't be too good. I know that sounds so weird, but that's that's how it is. You can't be too good as a foreign, with the exception of specifically Koreans are not. They are at a certain level that they bring in from Korea.
Because people forget, Ham So-hee was brought over with no experience, put in an immediate title fight with the expectation that she would lose. Ham So-hee is like the exception that proves the rule of what Japanese fighters tend to expect from foreign fighters, or want them at least.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the other thing is that I look at her. Sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
Ham was the can that crushed back.
Yeah. So
Banana
that's the one
peel.
thing. That's the one thing is that when I think of this type, I see a high level prospect, and would she be too good for Rizin's prospective Rizin strawweight division? Might be. If she might be. The other thing also is that she's not with Road or Black Combat, and that's where they seem to get all their Koreans from for whatever reason. Is just Black Combat or Road.
They seem to also go for, how do you say, a more picturesque fighters.
No,
when they're choosing Kate Lotus as opponents.
Yeah.
No, but
so aesthetically pleasing, more aesthetically pleasing, I'll say.
But I think it'd be kind of interesting if they brought her in and maybe matched her with Meng Bo immediately, and then had the winner fight Izawa.
Would they do a Korea versus China fight though? Seems so out of pocket for them.
Well, you put it on the undercard of like a landmark card, and don't make too big a deal out of it. Just be like, hey, here's a couple foreigners beating each other up, and then you say, oh, then afterwards they say, hey, how about we put this person in against like Machi or whoever for the strawweight title, inaugural strawweight title.
Rizin already did a show in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Paradise City.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect for like a local Korea card.
And they did have a Chinese fighter at the last landmark show, who was making his pro day or had 1-0 taking on Reiki Endo. So like they're not opposed to using Chinese fighters, just they usually don't have the best records.
Yeah. And she does have a couple wins over like very experienced Japanese veterans. So she has the Satomi Takano win, but she also has a win over was it Rika Emiko, who, I mean, that was like 3 years ago in Shudo, which most of Rika's fights are in Pancrase, but you have to be like at a certain level in Asia as an Asian fighter to beat Rika Emiko. Like she's kind of like a gatekeeper.
Isn't Rika Emiko like 52 years old?
She is one of what I call the old biddies of WMMA who just refuse to go away. But she's like Emi Fujino. Like you have to be at a certain level to beat her.
That's true.
But that's still the struggle with strawweight in Japan, though, is that Fujino's still beating people, though. She's still beating people that you would say on paper she shouldn't be beating.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's So-Yul Kim. Maybe not as likely, but I think she'd be an easy pickup, and she could get some wins in Rizin. Next, we're back to Charlie's pick, Hanuka Shigeta. She is 4-2. Her last bout, she dropped a submission loss to Namiko Hime Kawabata in May in Deep Jewels. She's only 21 years old. She's 5'3", 159 centimeters, so right there in the middle of that strawweight height span. And she's, I believe, a former Pancrase strawweight champ, but she was small for strawweight.
Flyweight.
Yeah, flyweight. But she was small for flyweight. Good, Charlie. That's your pick.
I'm going to start this off by saying that last loss was bullshit. She was like deathly ill. They like still made her fight.
Excuses.
You see the weigh-in pictures? She was covered in like spots. And it was one of those stupid Japanese things where even if she would have won the fight, she would have still lost it. It was.
I think I saw it doing my image search earlier, and she looked like sick.
Yeah, she was sick.
Yeah.
And it was not good. And she has no business, I think, at atom weight. She was too small for flyweight. I think strawweight would be perfect for her. She is an absolute German suplex machine. She had some great pancreas fights where she was just suplexing people away. Very exciting. Judoka. Let me see. Another important thing I want to mention is she loves Rizin. She has made it very clear that her goal is to fight in Rizin. So why wouldn't you want to invest in a fighter that clearly wants to fight in your promotion? Trains at black belt, is a student of Kana Asakura's. She's charismatic. She's outspoken. Unlike a lot of girls strawweight from Japan, she's very physically strong and powerful. I mean, she was able to suplex people at flyweight. Imagine what that power is going to do at strawweight. Yeah, so I know she's a grappler, but she's taller than most of the other Japanese girls as well. And I think the important thing to me is she has charisma, and she'll be an interesting fighter. What do you think, Andrew?
Oh yeah, no, listen, I remember when she first started, there was big hype. You got us familiar with her, yeah, she was a someone that I was looking forward to. That Hime loss though was pretty bad though, I gotta say. Even though she was definitely ill, sick, covered in hives or whatever it was, it's still like she should have beaten Hime. The point of that fight was for her to beat Hime.
I know, my issue with that, I just wish, I know you might agree with this, maybe you don't. I just wish that Japanese fighters would realize I should cancel this fight. I'm not at my best.
Oh yeah, but you know how she was talked about what happens if you cancel and then the ticket shit and all that stuff. So, yeah. Was she in the Olympics? No.
No.
I'm getting her mixed up. Sorry. But
she was a high level judoka, but I think she got injured a bunch of times.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's I know. Okay, I see. Her first loss was to Sugiyama. By the way, somebody who we could have used a name like that years and years ago for Rizin Strawweight division. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, flyweight. Excuse me, flyweight. Yeah. Not a bad pick. The only thing worries about is about the weight. It's about the weight thing. That's the only thing that worries me.
I think she struggled at atom weight. Strawweight, I think, is the natural fit for her. The only reason she wasn't in strawweight and pancrase is because her gym mate Karen was the pancrase champion.
Oh,
involved with that.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a big pick. I'm sorry, not a bad pick.
And I'll admit, she's young. She's 21 years old, so she doesn't have the fully developed fight IQ yet. But I think with the right guidance, she's at a great gym. That'll just get better with time.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Do you guys think that Rizin will build more with WMMA for the flyweight and atomweight division? I think their super atomweight division is essentially dead in the water. They do about 3 or 4 fights a year. Flyweight, they would need somebody to build the division around. And unless they're thinking of bringing Rin Nakai over, I don't know who they're going to build a flyweight division around.
Marina Kumagai, of course. No? No, so remember, I think wasn't the last time they actually had a flyweight fight? Wasn't it the Aoi Kuriyama versus Kumagai for the Sapporo show? That's the last time I remember them having a flyweight fight.
Yeah, because I think Marina Kumagai might be from Hokkaido, which is why they booked that.
I mean, they could have they could have used Aoi Kuriyama because of the Hagiwara Smoker Gym connection as well. But again, problem is that you have, I think most of all the good flyweights are in one probably by now. The ones that are not are Deep Jeweled, 3 and 4.
Flyweight. I mean, who are you going to build a flyweight division? I mean, Pancrase has Fumika Watanabe, who's very good. They have Shizuka Sugiyama, who's good, but she's older. She may retire.
Retired? She retired at this point. She's got to be retired, right?
No, she's not retired, but she does a bunch of stuff. So fighting,
Okay.
she's a mother, she runs a gym, isn't the only thing she's doing. So, I mean, yeah, Sugiyama, you have Rin Nakai, you have Aoi Kuriyama.
Kana Watanabe is in the PFL as well. Remember, the seemed like flyweight was going to be like their division. It was going to be a division. Remember, they had Auclair. They had the Polish girl. They had Kana. They had a lot of talent. And then again, I don't know if it's the case where like also like
that one girl that fought for Rising like kill somebody in America and get arrested.
Oh yes.
The girl that Auclair.
Yep. Who I don't know, whatever Auclair is doing, because I thought they're going to build up on that, being that she was the daughter of the famous comedian and all of that. But then she got pregnant.
Got badly injured in training, and then she started a family and just kind of moved on.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Gotcha.
Okay,
but
sorry, I screwed up my mic and camera for a little bit. I had to leave and come back. Looks like we're still.
I thought it was going to just be Charlie and I was like, oh God, how do we continue the show?
No, but in closing,
then you just ad lib as you go.
I was trying. In closing, Honika's young. She's charismatic. She's powerful for the division. She's big. I think it'd be a great addition.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have no objections. Former flyweight champ wants to move down where she probably would fit in better. I have no problem. The brother man asked also, do we still have hope with Japanese WMA and bantamweight division in the future? Looking at what Deep Jules has produced, no. Like they might have one or two breakout fighters if they ever get a chance to fight, but they're going to have to look for all their fights outside of Japan, and that's good luck.
They tried with King Reina. They desperately tried.
And she actually bantamweight, wasn't she like open weight?
Yeah. I think she went down she made a bantamweight for, was it the who runs Invicta? What's her name?
Shannon Knapp.
Yeah. No, Takeo Higashi. Higashi.
Yeah, Yoko Higashi.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think she went down the bantamweight to face Higashi, I believe.
Yeah, she lost.
Yeah. Twice.
And Yoko Higashi lost 3 straight fights overseas. So
she moved up in weight though to fight in PFL, I believe.
She did, but then she moved back down, fought another girl who was coming over from PFL, and that girl missed weight, and that was an Invicta because that was supposed to be a bantamweight.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have one of Andrew's picks, Miki Motono. Motono is 9-5. Last picked up a decision win over Emi Fujino back in March. She's 31 years old, 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters, has a reach of 63 inches, 160 centimeters. And as you can see in the picture, she did fight and road to UFC, but picked up an L there.
Hey, she got a bye one time.
Yeah. So, Andrew, why'd you pick her?
I don't know. Well, I'm surprised. Listen, I'm surprised she hasn't been in Rizin like at this point already. Because she's road to UFC. And listen, if you go to road to UFC and you're eliminated, you basically have an open door to Rizin, no matter how bad or how shitty you are. There's so many that have come from road to UFC that have gone to Rizin. So that was like the obvious reason why I picked her. But also, at one point, she was, I guess, like she was the golden girl of Deep Jules, I would say. Bima did that whole documentary on her, like her training overseas, right, Charlie? Was that her? She had the personality. Fight skills wise, maybe not the best, but her personality made up for it. A little bit older than you would think as well, but I don't think that's detriment to her. Yeah, I mean, she, other than Machi and Karen, who you would think like right off the bat Japanese strawweights who Rizin should get, like she'd be like number 3 or 4 probably that I would be like try to get her, but she has eluded Rizin for some reason up to this point. I don't know why, but yeah, I think the absolutely benefit to a Rizin strawweight division.
Okay. Charlie, I know you're very familiar with Motono as well.
I interviewed her in March. No, she was on my list until somebody stole her. No, Miki Motono has, I think, the body that Savio Oshima wishes she had, just a slightly bigger frame, so she's able to fight at strawweight. She's athletic. She has physical build. She's able to physically control and dominate fighters. I mean, she's absolutely manhandled some of her opponents on the Japanese scene. She has a very strong judo background. She is charismatic. She has lots of fans. She has that whole AACC connection. I know she doesn't train there now, but still, she has a very large network of people that support her. If you go to a Pancrase show and see her fight, she has a large segment of the audience. She's got the UFC experience. She's trained abroad. I think she'd be a no-brainer. The only issue would be, I think she's very focused on fighting for the UFC, and I don't know if Rizin is on her radar.
Yeah. Yeah, former Deep Jewel strawweight champ. Now, she did lose to Izawa a few years back, but yeah, she's a natural Japanese strawweight. So if you can get her, if she's interested, why wouldn't you try to sign her? Now, of course, she seems clearly interested in UFC, but she did, after losing her in the road to UFC, she did come back and pick up a win over longtime veteran Fujino. So I think she knows like she has to get some fights in if she ever wants to get a chance at the UFC again. Mm-hmm. I just think she's a no-brainer. Like she's Japanese, she's a strawweight. So why wouldn't you want her?
I think Shu, I think on your show, Charlie, said that like a lot of these fighters will kind of also just wait out, waiting for the UFC to come around or road to UFC. When I would think now that these fighters should learn that with how many fighters have gone from Rizin to UFC and even Rizin helping fighters get to UFC, that's probably the best path. That could be the greater path to UFC than just waiting out or taking a fight in Pancrase or something.
Well, I'm going to step in a little bit in that if she wants to go to the UFC, if that's her goal, like we're not talking about the Rizin thing, she needs to keep fighting at 115 pounds. UFC's made it clear they aren't interested in bloated atom weights. She needs to have the muscle mass and be a strawweight. That is probably the biggest reason. If she can control going to Rizin, that'd be the reason she didn't go, is she doesn't want to drop down to 49 kilo. Now that might change if all of a sudden an official 52 kilo division opens up and she's able to fight for that. That would clearly be the best way to get to the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, so that's Miki Motono. No
Plus, she comes out with the song, "Hey Mickey, You're So Fine." So I mean, isn't that the song that Mickey Gall came out to in the UFC?
Yeah. So this is one of my picks, and she might be my second most unpopular pick on my list. Salt, Haruka Hasegawa. So Salt is I don't have a record. I blanked out a record somehow. She is coming off a decision loss to Machi back in May. She's 34 years old, so she's tied for the oldest fighter on the list. She's very tall for strawweight, 5'6", 167 centimeters. I don't have the reach available for her. She doesn't have the prettiest record, but she is a natural strawweight. She's in Japan. She's one of their Sapporo fighters, and Rizin's gone to Sapporo twice now. She's kind of one-dimensional, but I don't know. There's something about Salt that speaks to me. And I think it's because she's like a perennial underdog. Like Pancrase brought her in kind of to lose to Karen, but she then said, no, I'm not going to do that, and beat Karen twice. And keeps winning it as the Pancrase Strawweight champ. Yeah, anytime the Japanese promotions decide that a fighter they're just going to use them as an underdog to lose, I kind of tend to cheer for them. And now someone in Andrew's chat last night said that Salt has aura, which is like all the kids nowadays talk about aura farming. He was probably being sarcastic. I think she does have a bit of charisma, because there was an I forget if it was like an IG reel or like a story, but like there was something she was doing one time, like she was like practicing her footwork and she was freestyling and saying, I'm Salt, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is pretty funny. Like, this is like, I don't know. I think, yeah, she has an underrated charisma that I don't think she gets to show off because, well, if Rizin brings her own in to job out to fighters, then she's not going to get to talk on the mic. But she is a decent striker. She just has no takedown defense. So she knows what she needs to work on. It's just a matter of getting her to work on it. Okay, trash away, guys.
I mean, I think her greatest weapon is she's tall and has a good jab. She knows how to use it. I mean, she used that to piece up Emi Fujino pretty good. Just keep her off her. The issue with Salt, I mean, I will agree. I think she's more charismatic than Seika Izawa, for example, or like Siwoo Park. She does have some level of charisma, but this isn't a bad thing. Her fights, she's not a big finisher. So you're either going to get kind of fights where she's olaying her opponent and beating them with jabs, or fights where she gets taken down and immediately submitted. Like, that's going to be what I think her rising career would look like.
She did a pretty good job of making Machi look very one-dimensional.
It was a very bad matchup for Machi. A very tall fighter with a jab is Machi's worst case scenario.
Thoughts, Andrew?
I'll say this: she's the absolute best at holding somebody against a cage. That is the highest compliment I could give Salt. I'm just sorry. I just am not a fan of hers. I see a one-dimensional striker, a one-dimensional cage holder. I wouldn't even strikers even being kind of generous, I would say.
Yeah, she's a jabber. She's a jabber.
You know how like everybody like thinks that Sean Strickland's just like this brawl that has this brawling tough, like she's like the Sean Strickland, I would say.
Sean Strickland presents the idea of himself as like this fighter willing to die in the cage because he says that, and then he goes in and shows that he's anything but that.
Yeah, well, the idea, like, when the way that Rizin promotes her when she has her fight, you know, that she's this like striking, they don't say striking queen, but they promote her as this hard hitting striker and all that stuff. I think that's kind of what they imply. I think, Charlie, is that kind of what that she's a precise and strong striker? Is that kind of what they go with?
I mean, does Rizin promote her?
I mean, for the VTRs and all that stuff, they kind of like, yeah. So, and yeah, I'm just not a fan. There is so many people more deserving of being given attention than I think Salt.
I will say I was a big fan of when she fought Saudi Oshima because it like made the David versus Goliath match real.
And also the fact that Rizin only books her for the Hokkaido shows already tells you like what they think of her. And the fact they don't give her easy matches as well. That's the thing. They give her matches where obviously she is going to be mismatched. So they're taking the hometown person and basically saying you're coming here to lose. Usually it's the opposite. Usually try to do the opposite.
No, her. Realistically, she should have been too big for Oshima. Oshima just didn't get the notification.
Oh,
no
yeah.
one's too big for Oshima.
She didn't follow the script.
No. Wasn't that fight not even at strawweight? That was a catchweight because I think Salt actually has a hard time making strawweight.
Was it almost like was it like 118? I think it was like 118 or something, right?
Yeah, I think most of those fights are catchweights.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. She is still the Pancrase Queen of Strawweight. And I think she's called Salt because she leaves the Pancrase promoters crying salty tears when she wins.
She's actually named after that movie with Angelina Jolie.
Oh. Okay.
The movie, if I remember correctly, she's never actually watched.
Japanese nicknames are the best.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is one of Charlie's, Arisa Matsuda.
I mean, you guys can just thank me. I picked the best fighter out of Japan at strawweight.
Yeah, she's 4-2.
Yeah.
Picked up a recent
she's 7-0.
She's 7-0. I'm sorry. I was reading Hanaka Shigeta. She's 7-0. She picked up a split decision win at Road to UFC over Feng Xiaokan back in May. She's 30 years old, so she's in the middle there. 5 feet 3 inches, 163 centimeters tall, with a reach of 64.5 inches, 164 centimeters. Is the former Deep Jewels interim strawweight champ and holds a win over Machi.
No, I mean, former professional baseball player. She is a natural athlete. She moves well. Even though she has no martial arts background, she's adapted quite quickly. She's not perfect in grappling, but she's getting better. She has power in her hands, devastating ground and pound, good striker, and she makes up for a lack of experience and just being an athlete, more of an athlete than some of the people she's fighting. She's fun. She's got a good personality. She's a mother. She's from Osaka. She's got a lot of quirky things going on. TV experience. I think she'd be a great addition to the promotion.
Is she out of the smoker gym?
No, she's like that pancrasism gym, whatever that pancrase gym in Osaka is.
Because that would be like a built-in thing for her. Like smoker gym, every time one of their fighters fight, they like their people follow their fighters.
I think she still has a little bit of following from her baseball days.
Interesting. Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm surprised Rizin didn't get to her, when she was coming up with Deep Jewels. You think that they would have tried to at least put her in something at least once. I don't know what her status is now, given she did. Her fight was not a tournament bout, I believe, right?
No,
they didn't do a ladies tournament this year.
So I'm not so sure if she's a free agent or if this is a case where like UFC has her still and they're going to use her or something. I don't know how they do that for Road to UFC, but listen, I don't know what else can be said. She's somebody who you go with first. Hey, listen, you beat Madonna the Rocket. You're worth something.
She absolutely massacred Mika Nagano when they fought. I mean, she shut down her wrestling. And think about Mika Nagano, she was a very good wrestler. So I think she's got a lot of potential. Now, the one thing is, I know that Alima Lay McFarlane was one of watching her fight is what made her want to be an MMA fighter. Because of that, I think her eyes are outside of Japan. I think she wanted to fight for Bellator, but since that's no longer an option, I think the UFC is probably her goal now.
She's 30 though. That's the other thing. I didn't realize she was 30. So that's not old, but it's also like
not young.
Yes, it's that, and especially if her goal is that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at her Instagram to see like what she's doing now. I don't think she has. Does she? Oh wait, she has the She's fighting in Deep coming up, right?
I don't remember the fights that were announced for that.
Okay, I thought you. Well, no, I don't see anything on her Instagram, so I'm assuming that I'm misremembering.
I think that the big fight for the next Deep Jewels is the Machi fight. And I remember being kind of disappointed in the rest of the card, so I doubt she's on it.
Okay, yeah. No, it was Machi versus Park. That's why my brain's.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, go for her. Go for her if you can get her. Get her. You know, just like again, I don't know why Rizin never got her in the beginning when she was up and coming. It was kind of like right there, like you could see, and especially after she beat Machi, I was just maybe she's another one of those fighters who's like, oh, I'm too big for Rizin. I'm only for UFC or something, probably.
Yeah. So going from what I know about how UFC treated some of the single fight winners on Road to UFC, she beat the Chinese fighter who was a finalist in last year's tournament.
Isn't that the girl that beat Matano twice?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then got knocked out by Dr. Shiming in the finals with that head kick. But she beat her with split decision. So it wasn't like the most exciting win. And that makes me think of Danny McCormick, who was the UFC, or excuse me, the Invicta strawweight champ, went to Road FC, moved up on short notice to flyweight, took on that big, muscular, hulking looking Chinese girl, beat her by decision. And then UFC basically like kind of dicked her over for like the next 6 months to a year, saying, yeah, keep yourself open. We might be calling you. And then they never did. And every time she would call, they'd say, we might need you. Just keep yourself open. But they would never definitively sign her. Mm-hmm. So unless she is under contract with UFC, I'd say pick up a fight if you can get it. Pick up a fight. Get a fight. If it's in Rizin, do that. I mean, maybe Rizin won't make her, sign like more than 1 or 2 fights at a time. And then she can keep her options open.
It goes back to that whole thing about fighters, who will rather wait out than rather wait, hoping for the UFC call than taking a fight in Shuto or something, like that. Because apparently, also remember Yamato Nishikawa was supposed to fight in Shuto. Remember he was supposed to fight UFC, but Shuto said no, you're exclusive to us, guy. So I think that's also another reason why, because contracts in Japan are much different. DJ could speak more on that when it comes to even the small promotions.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless Rising had the strawweight division, that's why she's not fighting for them, like realistically. And she's a Deep Jewels fighter, and let's be honest, Deep Jewels has, I think, 4 events a year. So you're not going to be that busy in that promotion, especially they've kind of taken this more recent turn towards what I'm going to describe as more of their idol divisions. Outside of the Machi fight, I think they've been focusing way more on people that sell tickets than people who are potential world title challengers.
Yeah. So Kate Lotus, what's her face with all the tattoos from Smoker's Gym at 125.
Andrew loves that girl. You don't talk about her like that.
Oh, Kuriyama.
Yeah, Aoi Kuriyama. Hey, she's a ticket seller. So, Kyoka Chibisai. Hey, I'd watch her fight. Whatever, she could be 0-8.
It all went downhill after Sarah versus Sarah. That was really the apex.
Everything since then has been downhill for Deep Jewels.
Mm-hmm. I think Sarah does have a fight, though, on the upcoming Deep Jewels show.
She does.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to invite you back for a preview of that when September hits.
You should get her on. She speaks English.
Does she?
Yeah, she's halvesies.
Okay, interesting. Next up, we have one of Andrew's picks, Yua Yokosei, who is one of the less experienced fighters at only 2-1. She's coming off a submission win over Yura Naramoto back in May. She's 23 years old. She's also kind of tall at 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters. I'm not as familiar with her because I haven't been watching Deep Jewels as much lately. But Andrew, tell us about her.
Yeah, she's young. All finishes to her record. Lost her debut, but now is on a 2-fight winning streak. Again, not the most experienced, but I think if you're going to build a division, you kind of have to. You need to have a successful division. Needs to have experienced fighters like Mengbo, Miki Matono, others as well. But you also need to to find those new fighters. Like remember when Charlie, remember when Rizin showcased Sakura and
Eddie Takabayashi.
yes, yeah, like that. Two like very new fighters. Like not, I think one was making their debut, and the other one was like only 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, they're both very young. They're both still high school students.
Yeah. So okay, obviously Yuya is not a high school student, but still young. And a successful division needs this. You need to know, like, okay, where is this young person as a fighter? Are they just one note? Do they need more development in striking? Do they need? Are they, whatever? I think that Yoko says maybe especially now, two finishes and young. You kind of have to dip your toes in the water with somebody, and I think she's probably the best that Deep Jewels has in terms of up and coming strawweights.
Okay, I just remembered that fight because Sakura versus Takebayashi, because it created one of the biggest meltdowns, like fighter meltdowns, in Japanese MMA history with Sakura. Because I think she missed weight for her next fight too, or something after that, and she went from being super popular to like all the netizens hating her, and she just retired and disappeared.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
I'd put Eddie Takabayashi on my list. I love Eddie Takabayashi. She's a great fighter.
Yeah, she's just kind of disappeared lately.
Well, she shattered her jaw in that one fight, which was one of the most exciting fights in Deep Jewels history. That fight was amazing.
Okay, Charlie, your thoughts on Yokosei?
I mean, she hurt Akipi, so I can't be a fan.
Yeah, that was grappling. It wasn't MMA. You could forgive. You could forgive that.
Can you really bring someone to Rising who beats up a Rising round girl? I don't think it's allowed.
Former round girl.
Once a round girl, always a round girl.
And one-time paramour of Tenshin. Because that was her, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Wait, is Akipi the one that did like the thing with her arms and around and touched her boobs?
I don't think so.
Okay, because that was the one Tenshin was with. I'm not as familiar with Yokosei, so I'll take you guys' words on her. I kind of missed the last couple of Deep Jewels events.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the last one. I was there at the new Pure Hall, Andrew's favorite venue.
We got a good question here from the Brotherman. Says question: how can we save female bantamweight, or how can we bring back crazy female openweight fights? So,
in Japan or in general?
I'm guessing in general. The biggest thing in general is just to keep signing. Like, you got to incur. Okay, so UFC is the biggest place that has bantamweights. UFC needs to encourage the smaller promotions that they basically keep under their thumb on Fight Pass to keep signing bantamweight fighters and building them up. And then the UFC can bring them in and replace the old blood. Because the problem with bantamweight is a lot of their fighters are old and they need to replace them with the young blood. But they also need to be like exciting and kind of good. And that's the biggest problem is the UFC ignored that division for years, basically. Like going all the way back to Rousey's time, they would only build up fighters just enough to get them to a title shot. And then that fighter would lose to said champion, whether it was Rousey or Nunes. And then they bring up the next, then they figure out who's going to be the next contender. They build her up just enough to get a title shot, but ignoring the rest of the division basically. And they went like a while without signing any new fighters. But I think bantamweight is actually starting to make a return. Like they've got a top 15 right now that if they can replace a few of those fighters in that top 15, I think they have a chance. But UFC actually has to want to bring that division back from the dead. And they haven't so far.
I think they'll just do what they usually do. They'll just wait for a popular fighter to emerge and
Right.
then focus on the division.
Well, that's why they're doing Harrison versus Nunes, because they have no thought for the rest of the division. It's just, well, what's going to be the next title fight? All right, so I'm up next. If y'all didn't like my salt pick, you're not going to like this pick either. Yujin Shin. Hear me out. Okay, so Shin is 3-1 with 1 no contest. She just fought this past weekend, lost to Seika Iizawa. She's 21 years old. She's 5'2", with a reach of 60.4 inches, 154 centimeters. Okay. Like I kind of explained this in my fight review. I think the reason Shin has been having problems with her weight is that she started off in 2019. She was 15 years old, made her debut. And she was like a natural 115 pounder, so she didn't have to lose weight. But fast forward a few years and a few fights later, well, first they keep asking her to fight at a weight that she's not accustomed to, or she's never made. And I just don't think she's accustomed to cutting weight. And she comes from like a small camp that's produced like two other pro fighters that I can name. And one of them was a natural atom weight. So she never really had to cut weight either. And also has like a crazy upside down record. So like the infrastructure wasn't prepared for her to have to cut weight. And she never had to cut weight before. But now that she's like 21, she's growing up into her adult body more. She's having trouble doing that. I think if she was taught how to make weight, the weight problems would be over. If she was able to cut weight properly. As far as being a fighter goes, well, she was thrown to the wolves with Iizawa. But she's not a bad fighter. Like I've seen her fights. She's actually very good with submissions. Like, so basically my argument is like, give her a chance, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I'm trying to balance. Like, the problem is we could make a really good strawweight division, but it's not going to be the type of division that Rizin is interested in. And I think if you're a fighter who is a foreigner coming to fight for Rizin, if you're not a can, you have to have some like what they would call plus alpha. You have to have some X factor that you're bringing. Like, are you super aggressive? Are your fights always exciting? Are the fans going to like you? Is there something that's going to bring attention to you? Do you think she has something like that?
Yeah, let me pull up her record real quick because I think all of her wins are by finish.
Yeah. I liked who was the Park girl that retired because of all the online bullying or like all the arm tattoos from Black Combat?
Shi Yoon Park.
I wish she had kept fighting. She would have been a good addition.
Yeah, she wasn't that exciting though.
No, but she had some charisma.
Yeah. Okay, so Yujin Shin, official MMA fights that are recognized by Tapology. Her debut was a split decision, but since then, rear naked choke, no contest, but neck crank. So she's finished all of her opponents but one. And then even in
weren't two of her opponents the same person?
Yeah. And then she fought like Road FC did their like modified rules ARC thing, which was like try to get younger people interested by like having shorter fights and shorter ground time. She was 2-0 in that with one win by finish and another one by decision. But so yeah, she's a finisher at least.
I mean, she finished that one girl a couple times. I wouldn't call her.
Yeah,
it's been difficult.
Hey,
I don't know.
Put some respect on that name. That girl quit her banking job to pursue MMA full time. That's dedication.
I'm not as
probably stupid dedication, but dedication.
I'm not as familiar with her as you are. I'm just. I mean, sure, bring her around. See what. Korea's super close. if something happens, it happens. If not, they can always find a different fighter to bring over, I guess. I just wasn't that impressed with their last performance.
Yeah. Well, my list is like the more out of their way kind of names, but or like I tried to go with like either interesting or like
No.
just add some flavor. So, and plus they can give her a redemption arc. Like if she makes weight, they can put her on a redemption arc, and WMMA likes redemption arcs.
She and Juan Arcoleta can diet together.
Andrew, I know you were already not interested in seeing her back. So.
Well, my worry is, would she make? She didn't even make strawweight for this fight. This is a strawweight fight that she had with Gizawa, and she didn't even make weight for that. So,
yeah.
well, I'm like, if she can't make strawweight, is she gonna have to be one of those people who has to do catch weights, and then eventually she can maybe do flyweights? I'm very circumspect. I'm not so high on her. She's young. I get it. She's young. 3-1, officially, but I don't know. After seeing this past fight, also the fight that she had this year at Road FC, I can't be sold on her until I see like more stuff. Unfortunately, maybe you see something in her that I don't, but I can't. I don't see anything from her most recent endeavors.
Well, I will say before like the weight problems, like back in December, and then now, I did see a lot of promise in her. Like she looked like one of the best prospects coming out of the local Korean scene at the time. Which, granted, it's strawweight. It's even thinner in Korea than it is in Japan. But like Japan, JMMA likes bringing over Koreans, so they're cheap. Like they fly them over, or half the time I think they give them like a ferry ticket and then put them on the train. So. Okay, so we can move on from Shin. We're back to Charlie. Nope, this is. Wait.
Yes, me, Mal.
Nope, Mallory Martin. That's right, Andrew. Mallory Martin. Mallory is 11-6. She's a UFC veteran. She's coming off a decision win over Ava Dorthe back in April. Defended the Octagon title. She's 31 years old. She's 5'4", 163 centimeters with a reach of 64 inches, 163 centimeters. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I tried to think of just like an out of the box pick. As far as I know, nobody from Octagon has ever come to Rizin. So if this were to happen, this would be the first. She has I know she's an Octagon champion, but she has faltered under much higher talents, particularly in UFC. Now, I know that Rizin likes to do the foreigner versus Japan thing, especially if they are formerly of UFC. This would be a great Martin would be a great test for somebody like Machi, or if they got Masuda in there, you can play off that they're formerly of both UFC or Matono as well. I think that, and the fact that Martin is a champion as well, I think obviously. Oh, she's the strawweight champion from Octagon. But yeah, probably the most unrealistic pick for me. But I think it'd be what the high level matches that they could make would be interesting.
Charlie, I don't know how familiar you are with her. Like she used to fight in Invicta and then got picked up by UFC.
I remember when she fought in the Invicta days. And I think Andrew, good pick. UFC veteran. That's all a Japanese promotion needs to promote a fighter. They're going to slap her as a UFC veteran, and she's the perfect type of fighter to almost is not gatekeeper, but just test these fighters against someone who's been on the highest stage. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but if you're fighting in Japan and you're a UFC veteran, I think that's all they need to promote you.
For years, that's all any promotion needed to fight you. Like if you had that UFC veteran banner underneath your name, like U.S. regional promotions used to sell tickets almost entirely based on you. It doesn't mean as much anymore because they've had so many fighters come through, but still, like in places like Japan or even in Europe and Octagon, it still helps.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the women's division. Female UFC veterans are much rare.
Yeah. Now, she didn't do so great in the UFC. Like, she lost all but one of her UFC bouts. And her win was against Hannah Seifers. But
they won't mention that when they promote her.
Yeah. I mean, since getting cut, she went to Octagon straight away. She lost to Katarina Delita, who ended up becoming their champ. But then she won 2 straight in Octagon against experienced fighters. Rematched Delita, beat Delita for the championship, and then just recently defended it. And so, like, she is a road fighter. Like, she's used to fighting on the road. And now she's even beaten a champion on the road. So,
yeah, listen, Rizin used to bring over a lot more former UFC fighters. It used to be, listen, if you got released from UFC, you were like on the next Rizin show, like with Angela Mangana, Cindy Dandois. I know you love that. Cindy Dandois. Yeah, they used to bring over a lot more. I mean, that's all. It seems to be a lot less now. They seem a lot more picky with which former UFC fighters they go after. But yeah, like Charlie said, easy way promoter, former UFC fighter and Octagon champion.
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle would be that she is with Octagon as their champ, and Octagon is like really trying to take over Europe.
Yeah,
and like now, I believe their contracts no longer have like a UFC clause in them.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're their champion, they're not going to release you just because you get a UFC offer now, because like they don't want to lose their biggest fighters.
So, like I said, that was like my out of the box most unrealistic pick. I just had to pick her just because it would be a good get for them, but highly unlikely.
Yeah. So Charlie's final pick is definitely an obvious one now that she's back fighting again. Kanako Murata, another UFC veteran. She's 13-3. Last picked up a win over Idiana Silva by a decision at UAE Warriors back on the 23rd of this month. I forgot to type out the rest of her stats, but she's already a Rizin veteran. Like, she fought for Rizin back in the early days, and she was like one of the fighters that they were like promoting because, like, now she's not the one with the famous mom, because that was Shinju Auclair.
No, Murata Kanako is heavily promoted because she was a very high caliber wrestler who is associated with Saudi Yoshida, who was like a 4-time Olympic champion, incredibly famous in Japan.
Like one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time.
Correct. Yeah, she's like one of her kohai, I think the word to say.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, extremely high level wrestler. She has the Sakuraba gimmick. She was already heavily pushed by the promotion. She's kind of a quiet person, but she's also kind of quirky. And I think that quirkiness is something that Rizin is good at promoting. Like, if you're not an outgoing person, Rizin, more than any other promotion, will try to find a way to promote you. And look at Motoya and Naoki Inoue, for example. But with her, they'd be able to promote her, they push her, and experience and record-wise, she and Bo have to be the top most experienced veterans that have achieved the highest results And because of that, I think they're the two you have to get.
Yeah. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, so it's surprising. Was she on the first Rizin show, Charlie? Was she on the very first one?
I think she didn't fight, but they brought her out to the ring, and she talked about how because of what Ronda Rousey did, she wanted to fight in MMA, and she like announced her intention to start like training full time.
So she defeated Natalia Denisova at Rizin FF1 in April of 2016.
I was there when she lost to Ring Nakai, by the way, as well. Probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen, like live and in person. Terrible fight. But
mismatch.
Yeah, a mismatch, absolute mismatch. Barely a match, I would even say. Yeah. My only contention I was gonna put her down, but then I also, again, I tried to think as realistic as possible who Rizin would get, except for my one Maui Martin pick, and I'm like, she should be already back in Rizin after her UFC stint, but she has not come back, and I'm wondering, like, is she just one of those who just burned a bridge of Rizin at some point, or management's just is not friendly with Rizin anymore? Because she was definitely one of Rizin's golden. They love former Olympic wrestlers. They love people who have been great in judo. That's always been like one of Bara's things. No matter if you come from the Olympics, you come from judo, whatever, pro wrestling, you have the easiest door to Rizin than being like the best fighter in the world. So, but like, yeah, she left the UFC around 2023. Never fought and is only fighting again this year. And it's not for Rizin, it's not for Deep, it's for UAE Warriors. So when I hear that, I'm just like, there's somebody up there don't like her. Somebody up in the Rizin office don't like her for whatever reason.
I think it's one of those things where I would imagine that she's obsessed with getting back into the UFC.
Oh, that too as well. Yeah.
And that's why she probably, I'm going to say this is an inaccurate thought, but she probably thinks going to Rizin is a step backwards in her career, where I don't think that's the case at all. But I think she thinks towards going to the UFC is a step backwards.
Right. And if you fight on Fight Pass and win, that's directly who the UFC matchmakers prefer to recruit from nowadays.
So there was no injury. She was just like probably just taking a layoff until she got the UAE Warriors.
Well, she
had that bad shoulder
fight at Olka Sasaki's event, right?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Didn't she have like that weird grappling match at like that Olka Sasaki event?
Sasaki event?
Sasaki, the guy that they had like weird, like that. It wasn't that moat fighting, but it's kind of like that.
Was it not the Expo, WMMA Expo? What are you talking about? No?
Give me a second, I'll look it up. She had like a weird grappling match.
The other thing also is that the only contention I have is that listen, Murata is she could probably mow down most, I would say, actually not going to say most, I'm going to say you put up against Masuda, Machi, Salt, I think put up against almost all of our picks. I think Murata probably defeats all of them as well. But the problem is that she doesn't have the personality that Rizin would like, who can defeat all these people. Oh, do you find it, Charlie, what this weird grappling thing is?
I'm looking.
Okay. So, like, yeah, like, I would say, like, yeah, unfortunately, she seems to have hashtag UFC dreams.
Yeah. I know her shoulder was jacked up. I forget if it was before the Jandiroba fight, but definitely, like, she got hurt in the Jandiroba fight.
Didn't she get her arm broken by an armbar?
Yeah, I think, like, her shoulder got jacked up or elbow or something. So, I mean, those fights, like, I know, like, shoulder stuff, they say you're never the same after that. So maybe she just took a long time off to get right.
I know that when she was in Thailand training, She got kneed in the face by some dude who knocked a bunch of her teeth out. And I think that took a while for her to recover from. But she did have a weird grappling match, I swear to you.
I believe you, but I'm just like, was this Ulka Sasaki like produce event or something like that? Like, you know how like some of those guys MMA was like some of those MMA fighters have like Kitaoka had his was it Ismos thing?
Wait. I think I found it maybe. That Virtual Survivor 2. Yeah, it was at a Ganrujima event.
Okay.
Oh, is it like a New Year's event?
Oh, this is where they have the fake background, right? Where it looks like Mortal Kombat, right?
It looked like it was a Street Fighter event or something.
Was it like one of the ones where like Gen Ryujima had like their moat, but then they also had like the ring for the day before, so then they had like the pole.
Oh, yes. I remember this. That one? I remember this. She mowed down that the Korean girl. I remember that, yeah. Okay.
Ryujima is like the best kept secret of WMMA.
Okay, I remember
to action.
I remember this now. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I knew it was real.
If UFC had never happened, Gun Ryujima is exactly what like people would want to see in a martial arts show.
Yeah.
Like you got like the moat with the dry ice fog, and they're all wearing the same outfits, and like the rules favor strikers, but if you can submit someone, you can submit them like really fast, and you throw them into the moat.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Seiza was like the ladies' version, and Team Date basically ruled Seiza.
You can't beat 50 people.
All right, so I believe I'm next with the final fighter. I decided to go with some European flavor for this one because Rizin likes bringing in the occasional European fighter, and it's exotic to like the Japanese crowd. They're used to seeing American fighters or the occasional Brazilian fighters, but Rizin likes to bring over those like, where'd they find this person fighter from Europe? And this one's like not an out of nowhere fighter, but she's pretty experienced. Chiara Penko, who is 9-5. She's coming off a win over Linda Vestrini back in June of last year, so she hasn't fought in a while. She's 29 years old. She's 5'5", 165 centimeters with a reach of 66 inches, 168 centimeters. So she's on the bigger side of strawweight, which I will admit has caused her some cardio issues in the past. Mostly when she was in South Africa. She's Italian, but she's the former EFC champion in South Africa. And like all their fights were at like elevation. I forget what the city is called there, but it's like up in the mountains. So she would like run out of breath, and like that's how she lost her title, because she just got tired. But she's a Bellator veteran, as you can see from the gloves. And I think she had like one more fight with them after the acquisition. But she's like one of Bellator's like Europe only fighters, because she was a strawweight signed to a promotion who really didn't put on strawweight fights. And she actually has a fight lined up in, I want to say, September or October with Cage Warriors. And that's only because Cage Warriors is going to be in Italy as well. And she's facing a fellow Italian, Fabiola Padroni, who might beat her, might not. But I figured, yeah, she's kind of big and tall, but I figure like an Italian chick would be kind of like exotic for the Japanese crowd. And she's not unbeatable because she's 9-5. So
if you're going to pick a Bellator strawweight, I thought you would have picked Carrie Melendez.
Nah, she's too old. She's like pushing 40.
You got to get the Gilbert Melendez connection. You got to somehow tie it back to Pride. No, but I mean, it seems like a solid pick. They have had European fighters before. They've had Spanish. If I remember, they've had English, French. So they definitely moved around.
Yeah.
So that'd be good.
I mean,
She's tall.
Rizin discovered Yuri.
And I think the important thing, this is going to sound insulting, is she's not too good.
Exactly. That's why I said, she doesn't have a perfect record at 9-5. So
yeah, that's the type of fighter I think they're looking for, to be honest.
Yeah. Like I think some of the fighters we've picked are like too good. And it's like, no, we got to keep them away from Machi.
Thoughts, Andrew?
I mean, well, she does have like a 6 degrees of separation connection of Rizin. She has a win over Lanchana Green, who was another victim of Murata. Yeah, I think you said it best. Remember when Rizin used to bring all those? Yeah, like you said, they used to bring like Polish, Swedish, like unpronounceable names of fighters I can never remember.
Hannah Tyson was a classic.
What was it? Sylvia Justwajcik or whatever her name was?
Yushkovic or something.
Yushkovic, yeah.
There's also like an Isabella. The girl from Spain was like Isabella or something.
Yeah, so they used to bring Laura Fontoura. Yeah, they used to bring in people all the time from just most random ass countries. I remember when Rise was going through the Mongolia phase as well.
Yeah.
So
bonus, her nickname, Beastie Barbie. So she has that, that nickname going for her.
Yeah, I think what was said before, she's good, but she's not too good. You don't have to worry about that. She's still young, 29. That's relatively, I'll say, young. But yeah, I have no problem with that pick. But do be warned, though, she could possibly be Machi. I hate how all of our picks have to be like, oh, but maybe we can't get someone who's going to beat Machi. That's the one thing I hate about all of our picks. That's the one thing when Rizin has her eyes on somebody, they will protect them until they can't protect them anymore. I hate that. I hate that so much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, but the thing is, like, they could build a division while also keep feeding Machi cans.
They could, yes. In theory,
I mean, are the Japanese fans really going to care if, as long as Machi keeps winning and getting like decent wins, like as long as she doesn't perform like she did against Salt and keeps fighting cans but gets good wins, like let's say if she keeps winning like the way she did against Soyeon Park, are they really going to care that she's not fighting anyone at least for a year or two? Like, you could build her up for a year or two and build the division around that for a year or two.
I mean, until unless UFC dreams keep come a calling, then she might be gone before then. Never know. You never know.
And sign her to an exclusive contract. I mean,
Rizin doesn't do that though, with the exception of maybe one or two people.
But Deep Jules,
listen, if UFC comes to Machi, she has that. She's taking. Listen, she's gonna do the Wei Li Zhang thing. She's gonna say she has an eye injury. I can't fight for the rest of the year.
Okay, let's say this. Let's say she beats Shiyu Park in September for the Deep Jules title. Maybe Deep Jules will keep her tied up. Like, they'll let her fight in Rizin, but only because she's the Deep Jules champ. And they love doing that. Like, hey, she is the Deep Jules champ fighting in Rizin. Like, they use that as their advertisement. They've done it for years and years and years. I mean, I think Jeon Kim is still their official bantamweight champ.
Amanda Lucas. Still the open weight champion. Well, remember, Charlie, Mizuki was still the strawweight champion while in UFC?
Yeah, she was like, until Seika Izawa came around, she was the strawweight champion.
Or Miki Motono.
Yeah. I think Miki Motono was only the interim champion.
Oh, wow. But yeah, like Jeon Kim was the bantamweight champ for Deep Jules the whole time she was in the UFC. And I don't think they've ever crowned a champ since. Because I think Yoko Higashi was the featherweight champ.
Wasn't Josh Barnett like the Pancrase heavyweight champion for like 20 years?
Yeah. He might still be to this day.
No, but I think we built a good division. Now, I don't think it's necessarily the division that Rising would be interested in building, but I think it'd be a great division if they did build it.
Yeah. So that's 15 people, 5 from each of us. I think a lot of them are realistic. Like I probably have some of the more unrealistic picks or like the more undesirable picks, but I like to go for the weird shit. And I tried to think of like, well, let's pick one of like every bit of flavor too. I would say Charlie definitely had like some of the best, most obvious Japanese picks because that's where he specialized. Andrew went a little bit on the foreign side, and I gave him Mungbo.
I also tried to. I tried to think I tried to think realistically also as well. And like I'm just like looking at Rizin's. If we were talking, what was it 2017, 2018? I would probably be thinking more outside the box because I could see Rizin doing stuff like that. But now, they've been
Rizin.
Yeah, they're not as wild with like, oh, we're gonna bring over Melvin Gilar to fight Takanori Go. They are not doing any of that weird. I shouldn't say weird, but kind of that type of bookie anymore.
Yeah,
they're a lot more safe, especially with the people who they love. And they've been putting them against not the most high level fighters, or they've been protecting them, and there's also the division of women's division and just in general as just I think it's an afterthought for them. Hopefully they'll be different, with Machi and all that, but I don't know. I'm hard pressed to believe that at this point.
Yeah, that's like I know like my list. I picked an American because hey, why not have an American? And I picked someone who might not be on the UFC's radar yet. Then I picked some. Did I pick a Japanese? Yeah, I had a Japanese and a couple Koreans, and then I picked a European for a little bit of variety and some exoticness. And I figured I don't think has Rizin ever had an Italian. I don't think they've had an Italian on the girls' side.
They're that one guy that Jay Wolf's way overhyping. Oh my god, Sabatello, whatever.
Oh, Danny. No, he's an American. Danny Sabatello.
Don't ask him that.
No, he's an American. You couldn't act more American than that dude. I'm pretty sure he just has a spicy name with a vowel at the end of it.
Maybe at the beginning, maybe there was an Italian. Maybe at the beginning. Oh wait, wasn't one of the guys who Tension fought and like his first? Wasn't one of them Italian? Maybe.
No, but maybe. But the girl that Rena fought was Italian.
Juliana Valentino.
Yeah.
Oh god.
They had a kickboxing and an MMA fight.
Okay.
Yeah, she's 2-2 after all these years. The bald head girl.
Yeah.
She's 37 years old now. Dang.
Trained with like a really famous Italian kickboxer, right?
Yeah. Well, she trains out of Team Tsunami Petrosian, so yeah. She hasn't fought MMA since. Oh, she fought MMA back in March. Picked up a win.
She's climbing back up the ranks.
Yeah, but she's 2-2.
Added Celine Haga to my list.
Justice for Haga.
I'll never forget.
Oh, never forget.
I mean, Edo Takabayashi was a good pick. I should have added her to my list. Forgot about her.
Well, she's at a super atom weight, but she might be big enough for strawweight now because she was real young, but she was tall.
Yeah, she's natural strawweight.
Yeah.
I mean, Rising can always give her some of that muscle juice, get her up there.
Nah.
No, but then she get a deep voice like this and sound like Chris Cyborg. She's 3-4. She hasn't fought since September of 2023. She got TKO'd against Saki Kitam. Oh, Saki. Yeah.
That's why she shattered her jaw. Her record is meaningless to me because every single one of her fights was exciting.
Yeah.
Is Saki, she's atom weight, right? Or she's strawweight?
I think they're all moving down to atom weight eventually.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Saki the breaking down girl? It was like,
Yeah,
She's exciting. I like Saki a lot.
yeah. Her last few fights have been at 49 kilos.
all part of the contender making factory that is Deep Jewels.
Yeah, the unofficial Deep Jewels super atomweight division.
And I'm gonna tell you guys this: outside of the strawweights, Shuto has made some interesting signings recently. Their little tournament they have going on is pretty interesting.
The super atomweight tournament this year.
Yeah, Erica's doing pretty good.
The curly haired girl with the perm.
Yeah, I think she was like a big star in Rise for a long time.
Yeah. Now is she the one? Did she beat Murakami in like the first round?
Yeah, it was the opening round. Not she didn't finish her, but she beat her in the opening round of the tournament.
Yeah, I missed that.
But it's not like a.
Oh, Charlie froze now. You're all freezing. Couple honorable mentions. Emi Fujino, just because she refuses to die or retire. I think she's going to end up dying in the ring. Like that might be her goal.
I already sent you my GIF on my thoughts on that.
Yeah. So she got what? She got hurt in training and like messed her eye up bad, and she's been like wearing an eye patch for a little bit. She had surgery. She is still the Shuto official strawweight champ. Another honorable mention would be
Park. I thought the Korean girl won it.
Well, she won the interim championship.
Oh, okay.
So Bohyun Park is now the interim Shudo strawweight champ. She's more of an atomweight though too, but hey, it's Asia. That just means she's not cutting weight to make strawweight. So, but yeah, those are the two honorable mentions. But Bohyun Park trains with Soyul Kim, so out of Team MOB, which apparently stands for Mind Over Body. All right. So there you have it, fight fans. I believe we have like 1 on YouTube and like 17 on X apparently. 15 possible fighters for Rizin to build a strawweight division around. Some of them maybe not so realistic, but I'd say most of them are realistic and easy gets because they're centered around East Asia. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up button. And thanks for watching Oh, before we go, Charlie, plug your blog and social media.
Sogo-Kaku.com. I've been very active recently, but I have some stuff coming. And then I have a podcast with Shu Hirata called Let's Talk MMA. And it's probably month. I try to do bi-weekly, but it's probably more bi-monthly at this point. But no, we have a podcast coming up soon.
Okay. Andrew.
We Are Rising podcast. We just did a recap of the Super Rising 4 show, which you can find in the archive of the YouTube channel. Just type in We Are Rising podcast. Covering PFL this weekend for MMA Saka. PFL, which is the number one promotion in the world, which nobody can disagree with. Got
fastest growing promotion in the world.
What was that? Sorry,
simply because they keep adding more side ventures. The fastest growing MMA promotion in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, covering that.
Covering that coming up in like 2 years.
Yeah. And covering that for MMA Saka. So that'll be we'll have some video stuff and some articles probably coming out about the PFL 8 for this weekend. So MMASaka.com.
All right. So thank you all for watching. If you guys want to stick around in the studio afterwards. But we'll see you all. Wait, hold on. What the heck? We'll see you all next time.